Marie with Casey and I back trackside live. Got here, we had a Georgia Power coal train, CSX, going south, and as you saw, the radiant heat pouring out of the stacks on those locomotives for Norfolk Southern coming north at us. He was sitting right at the other end of the yard, waiting. As you know, we are at a diamond crossover point where CSX and NS cross each other here. So we're back trackside, we're live, we're ready, and it has stopped raining. Now, when we left Chattanooga about a half an hour ago, it was pitch gray and pouring rain. We get here and the sun has just come out. We might even get a sunset out of tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get the monitor set up and a couple other things. Hope that you can see me. I'm not too close. Like I said, haven't gotten the monitor up yet. For those of you that are on, welcome back trackside here on Rail Moments, where we are live. So if you've not been with us before, what you see here on April 20, let's see, what is today? April 25th, 2025. What I see, you see within 3 to 6 seconds as a normal average, depending on the transmission time, quality of signal that we have tonight through our provider. Once we broadcast to YouTube, they process and send back to you at whatever type of device you're on and where you may be. The speed could be a little bit slower. Like, for example, if you're in Bridgeport, you might see this tomorrow, because there is literally no cell service in Bridgeport, Alabama. But south, north, signal indication lights, we'll cover all that in a moment. Let's go ahead and get ready. We do have the scanner on as well. And then I'll be back. We got the birds chirping. They're all excited. That must mean no rain for a while since the birds are out. Got a pretty good picture tonight, too. All right. Okay, we got to move just a tad to adjust for you guys. Now, since you're on magnification, hang on. Don't get seasick. But we got to get you just right. All right, let's see. How's that? Well, now they got a pole in the way. It's all about being just right. So again, hang on. Let's get this right from the get-go. There. Okay. Now, you can see red over red on the NS line, and you can see red over what is another red, but that tree has grown so much in the past week you can't see the lower light. And the same cars are still sitting on the siding down here, because about the third car down has a great big massive mural or rail art on it, and it's in the same spot it was the other night. L808 is the local that works this yard. We are at a CSX yard. So those are over on the CSX crossing over there, where they will maybe work those while we're here tonight. We're going to hang out until 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and I have no idea what time it is right now. What happens at 8:30, you ask? That's when it gets dark. And there are no lights where we are. So Give me a couple, and then I'll be back with you guys and gals. First thing we're going to do is put a cone on this steel post sticking up. So I don't fall over it. Alright, hello 8, right? Afternoon to you, Ron. Tony, how's everything up your way, sir? Good to see everybody tonight. Chuck, glad to see you got the place under control. Jonathan, welcome back to another trackside right here. And Tony, what news do you have? I know, from what I understand, 9 cars off the line up in Bridgeport last night off the CSX line up there on the with the local. Haven't heard much of the way of details today, but today is also sale day at job number 1. That's the day that Mike gets up early. He sees what 6 o'clock in the morning looks like, and then he struggles through the rest of the day. But hey, it's all for good times, hard work, responsibility, fun, and the reward, a paycheck. And that paycheck is what makes all of this possible. When I say all of this, there's all kinds of stuff. For those of you not been with before, there's production 6, bunch of equipment in the back, a tire, and all the gear from everything from lighting system to power pack to extension cords to monitors to you name it. Production 6 is mobile on wheels. And if you've not been with us before, Production 6 is one of a number of different vehicles that Casey and I have, all the way down to a side-by-side so we can go to wherever when time permits. And we now have the capacity. You guys hear what I hear? Let's go. Tony, we'll be back on your news story. So as we were talking, Production 6 is one of a number of vehicles Casey and I have that we have the ability to go wherever, do whatever, and with Casey's help, he's made it possible that I can broadcast with you guys literally anywhere, and be it through a service provider, a link, or by satellite. So when we go over to Stevenson, Alabama, or Bridgeport, where there is little to no signal, if any, we can connect to the satellite, come to you guys, whatever. So there's a whole lot of different opportunities. Casey sent me a note today. He said, Mike, I think I figured out how you can broadcast off of our 360 camera. And I'm like, oh. And then he sent a note, but it involves technology, so I'll probably have to be there to show you how to do that. And I said, technology involved? Yes. You will have to be here to help me do that. So, Casey's got a couple surprises up his sleeve, so I'm looking forward to that. And if we listen to what Jacksonville had to say, sound like dispatch has 2 northbounds coming our way. I believe he was talking to the coal train that went through just as we got here. You guys didn't get to see it, but it was a load of coal for Georgia Power. And on our train that just went north on the NS track, the Atlanta North District line, empty auto racks. And if John was on right now, he'd tell you non-producing revenue train. Just a lot of empty auto racks. But I tell you what, those auto racks had some fantastic rail art on them. And there's just too many things, there's just too many numerous things on that train to mention. But there were a lot of great things right up to and including Elvis Lives. And the only thing we didn't see that Crash saw the other night on the other side, NYKE, famous for doing the entire side of the railroad car. And I can't tell you how many times we see their work. And since the only video that I've seen where they agreed apparently to be filmed while doing a rail car out in California, don't know if that's headquarters or not for the person, but they were all covered up so you couldn't tell who they were. But they painted that rail car in 14 minutes according to that video, and that was unreal because that is a lot of square footage to paint. And Tony's talking about the incident that occurred. Like I said, I don't have anything first-handed, just what all I've read on Facebook and what Tony's telling us. 9 cars on the ground last night in Bridgeport, Alabama. I believe it was on the siding. It was the CSX local train. And after that, now you know what I know. I saw a number of pictures, and apparently it was not too far from the rail cam there in Bridgeport, just to the north of the rail cam from what I understand. But like I said, I've had the other job, and Thursday is incredibly busy day. So I have not read or seen or heard much in the way of details. So if anyone's got details, please, this is what this is for. Have fun, chat, let others you know, hey, jump on. If it's still raining where you are, come hang out with us. Mama Bear may even get her sunset. On the way down, I thought there would be no sunset, and I figured we would be having stay underneath our canopy today because of the rain. But like I said, the further I got south, the nicer it got. So we're trackside, we're live, we're hanging out with you guys. We'll see if Tony's got more information. We have the signals to the south. We'll keep an eye on those. And when our sun gets a little further down, and if the sky lights up all beautiful pink again, we'll pick that up. Excuse me. and we will hang out till 8:30 tonight Eastern Standard Time. So, back to the tracks. Let me catch up with y'all on the monitor. And if anybody's trackside, let us know. And rail friends, a little more rail action right here at Trackside Live in Dalton, Georgia, where 90% of the world's carpet is made within 25 miles of where you guys are standing right now. And we've got Amber on the top on the Atlanta North District line for a southbound action. And we've moved back just a tad from where we normally are. We're usually another 6-7 feet forward, but we're back just a tad to get a little more pan action angle on the locomotive going past here. And if we're lucky, one of those northbound CSX trains will sneak up down there at the other end of town where Crash was the other night. And we'll get to see them motor up right past us, billowing that radiant heat out of the exhaust as they fire up the diesels to make the electric, to make the train roll forward. In the meantime, and I don't think it's too bright, let's take a look through here. Probably should have zoomed you out before I did that little trick, but I guess it's kind of late now. But let's take a peek right through there. There is the sun just getting ready to go behind some clouds. To the west, where Mama Bear and Tara's sunsets are made. Don't think Tara's on yet up there in Pennsylvania, but I'm sure she'll pop up on here tonight. And I imagine Mama Bear will too. We got the pigeons here looking for some dinner. Looking for the grain that either comes off the top of the car where they filled it and there's a little excess spillage, or where the seals leak on the hatch, and as it bounces along, the kernels come out, and then it's pigeon dinner time. Especially for those of you that go to Coffey's Cliff, about 9 in the morning, you'll see 400 pigeons across that wire, and then they swoop and make their arrangements to catch, well, I should say find, dinner. And you're looking at the roof of Bucket List Antiques. If you want something old, there's a whole building of old in an old building, historically back to who knows when, here in Dalton, right along the line.
Yeah, come on out on the main. Call me when you're ready to go north. On the main, case out in Dalton, north and directions working. All right, you ready to come north or? All right, thanks. You see the dispatcher now?
Well, we're going to try and show you the bird fight, but too late. Well, wait, maybe not. Depends when they all get back here and start fighting again. Well, we may have missed the bird fight. Sorry, I wasn't fast enough. But we haven't missed our Amber. And there they're working on the old passenger depot here in Dalton, right next to the old control tower. where the yard master and his team would work this yard, throw the switches, etc. It's also back where the young man jumped off the General that day. Or I should say, jumped off the Fuller and his team chasing after the General that day. And they jumped off, and that young man got that message off to the north up to Ringgold to let them know that the General had been taken and was not under the control of the Confederates. And the story has it, he got that message off just before the telegraph line was cut. And that was the beginning of the end for Andrews and the Raiders that day. Andrews was a civilian leading that mission, and all the rest were volunteer military personnel from the north. Hello, Mama Bear. We just got done talking about you and taking a look at what they were lining up for your sunset. We do have a amber indication going southbound on the NS track. And just a little while, hello, Robert. And just a little bit ago, there you go, Mama Bear. We were poking through there. The sun went down through that a little while ago. And we were wondering what kind of a sunset we were going to get for Mama Bear and Tara tonight. Here in Dalton. Good to have everybody with us tonight. Robert, I hope everything's going well in your house and everybody's doing okay. Oh, we have inbound pigeons. There he is. He just landed. There with his friend, where they are looking for a little dinner like we talked about. They live right here. Robert, I'm glad to hear that everybody in the house is doing better. That's good news, sir. And now, the pigeons look like they're working a little harder for dinner than normal. They've spanned out threefold. The other night while we were here, if you were on, that groundhog, I think we named him George maybe, he came walking down tightrope on the rail. And then he got in front of us, realized that he had an audience, and decided he should go the other way. In the meantime, oh, that's right, he was a possum, not a groundhog, my bad. In the meantime, well, hey, Mom, welcome on. I hope you know your family's Q1 and Q2 on this channel. And how's the little bear tonight? I hope he's doing well. Make sure you tell Gavin I said hi. And as you can see, highball green on the Atlanta North District line. So let's see who hears the horn first. When we do hear that horn, we will swing the other way. Until then, hello, Crash. You and Dalton with us tonight? Oh, it's time for the Pooch's Walk tonight. Here we come again. We watched this Pooch the other night. Evening walk time. Where is he? There he is. Here comes El Pooch. Look at that guy. Well, I'm assuming it's a guy. He doesn't have a pink collar on. Mama says, hurry up, there's a car coming, get across. Go, go, go. Pooch is excited. He is out and about, going for a walk. El Pooch is happy. He wants to go to the liquor store, get him a drink. Mama says no. Oh, wait a minute. We gotta go. Hey, we're going across the street to the Cuban cigar store, or to the Cuban coffee shop, cigar lounge. Cigar Time is its name. And the dog doesn't get to go visit inside, get him some Cuban coffee. If y'all have not had Cuban coffee, experience it. Come on down to Dalton. Go to Cigar Time. It's very nice inside, huge leather couches, just all the conveniences at home. Sit and be comfy. Order what you're thirsty for. So, El Pooch is gone. He passed the private parking area. There's some serious bars on that window. So if you guys park back here, you better make sure you do it privately. Tony, you'll be excited to know, although you won't want any, you'll be excited to know that Production 6 now has a Keurig K-Cup brewer on board. We haven't tested it yet, but we can now make coffee. Robert, that could be very possible. That guy mixed that coffee for about 10 minutes before it was ready to be served. Much, much different taste. And yeah, not something you gulp. was long. Tara, welcome on board tonight. We were talking about you a little while ago, trying to put together a sunset for you and Mama Bear. We got red over amber. Red over amber on the south signal board for the Norfolk Southern. And because of the hour of the night already, that amber is giving us glowage on the track. We also heard L808 say they wanted to go to Rocky Face. So let's just kind of sit back and listen and see if anybody tells us anything here on the scanner as our last southbound went down the Atlanta North line. And on the subject of Cuban coffee, yes, they serve you about a half a cup. You want to take your time. You want to sip. You do not want to gulp. And you will be fully energized shortly after you hit the bottom of that cup. All right. We got horns, we got this, we got that. So let's kind of see what happens here, everyone. let's listen to the scanner and see if by chance CSX Jacksonville dispatch is going to come on and tell us what's next, and if one of those northbound CSX trains are sitting to the south of us there, or are they going to cut L808 loose to go to Rocky Face? So let's see what happens. And Robert, it looks like he passed through on the amber over red. So we did not get to see a flip to green. So, as Robert shared with you guys, he is prepared to stop at the next signal. All right, guys, that sounds like a new horn.
On the L808 last time I think, last time we done it, it took you like about 145 total to get back and get back. So, yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, they look at 45 right? So, yeah, so the back should take you what, it's still about an hour. So, on north, let's go. Yeah, we gotta get Joe there back at Dalton ramp, E3 put a oil for the island. So, come on, north. Whatever you can do, yeah, you gotta, churches, industry on. Alright, sounds good, thanks, Steve. That's right.
All right, let's see how this unfolds. But it does sound like he's cutting L808, which is the local that works here in Dalton. They're going to cut him loose to go on up to Rocky Face, about 9 miles up the CSX track. So we've got horn, we got action, we got activity, we got a little bit of everything. So let's see what happens. Obviously, we're past 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So let's just kind of see what happens before we make any plans to exit from here at the yard at Control Point North Dalton. Let's get back to the tracks. Let's hear what's happening. Well, Eugene, to answer your question, we were going to cut a path at 8:38 Eastern Standard Time. But as you can see, after I sneeze here, excuse me. Excuse me again. We have gone past 8:30. We're just going to kind of wing it by ear. I have another early morning tomorrow. Oh, I could do 20 of those, so y'all get ready. We're just going to kind of see what happens and take it from there. If we get L808 coming north, we'll try and hang on for him. Excuse me again. So, not going to give you an answer. That way I can't be late and I can't be early. Right now, we're just going to hang on, see what happens. And I guess, Eugene, to answer your question, we're going to use 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time as our cutoff. However, if we hear that L808 is going to come this way and we get a time on him, then we will stay past 9. So for right now, we're going to listen to the scanner and see if L808 does come up our way. Where those cars are going across down there is the next crossing. That is down by the old freight depot, which is also the visitors and welcome center for Dalton. incredibly nice place to rail fan. We got a 200-foot long porch, chairs. You can play disc golf. A real nice setup. The Crescent City Tavern's in that same parking lot. And the old Crescent City Pullman car for the Southern Line. The old Southern Line passenger service is on display there in that parking lot as well. So, you guys, let's listen to that scanner. Let's hear what happens. And if it looks like we need, we can break lights out to catch L808. We're just going to play it by ear for a moment. And there goes the old steel caboose on its way to Rocky Face. When he returns, they will reverse back later tonight, and the conductor will be riding on the back of that old caboose, and he will be blowing the horn and watching the crossings. And the horn on that old caboose sounds like you're sitting on a goose, bouncing up and down on it, making goose noises. Yep, you guessed it. That horn sounds just like a goose when they come back this way. So he is on the W&A Sub. He's past the 100, and he is making his way on the 9-mile trip up to Rocky Face. And, whoops, I'm sorry. Should have panned you out first. Well, Crash, you're in luck because we got to see the Rocky Face special tonight with the old steel caboose on the CSX W&A Sub Line. Took its trip on up to Rocky Face. Don't know if they're dropping off cars or picking up cars, but either way, they have gone northbound. And as Mama Bear pointed out, we do have southbound green over red over red. And as Robert's going to tell you guys, highball green southbound on the Atlanta North District line. No kidding. They're putting a caboose in Cohutta. Whoa, where at, Crash? I love going to Cohutta, although there's no cell service of any consequence there. I gotta stretch the rope a little tighter and get a bigger can when I go down there. For you guys to hang live with me from there, we have to go satellite. But I love not only the pizza, but the bread and the sandwiches that they have at the General Country store there. Right across from the, what is it? The Red Grill, the Red Fox Grill, I forget what the name of it is. It's so clean, everybody's so nice in there, but that bread that they use for those sandwiches, oh, is that some good stuff. All right, we threw up one light real quick. We got a green. While we're here, we're going to catch us one more southbound. And maybe, if he hurries up and gets back, but it doesn't sound like he's going to, I think he's up there for at least an hour from the way I understood the conversation to do what they need to do. But we'll just play it by ear and see. But we've got one set of lights up. We're good to go. Scanner's still on. If you guys want to hang out, I'm going to kind of hang out with you here. We'll see how well this goes and how long it goes. AAA, I love to read. There's just no time. I work the other job, and then I go straight to this job, throw dinner and breakfast in there somewhere, and time with Mrs. S, who's the most incredible wife ever, and poof, the week is gone. So there's very, very limited time. I try to spend, we try to go out and do some things together, go some places and do this, do that, so that, but this is quite a few hours of my time. So I really don't get to, because by the time I get done, there's things to answer with y'all, different messages and stuff, and just it's just hard to find the time. But wherever I go, I have a good time, and hanging out with you guys always turns out to be a good time. And Robert's going to send us another southbound with his highball green. So let's listen for that horn. I'll throw the lights on. Haven't seen 29F yet tonight, so he's past due. Let's hear what the scanner's got to say. There's a beautiful view of the dumpster. I knew that would excite you guys. Okay, everybody, we didn't get the whole conversation, but they did say, and you probably heard it with me, go ahead, come on south. So, I'm going to assume that they're giving L808 permission to return on the W&A. However, we have amber over red over red. If y'all aren't sure what that means, Robert, you fill them in. Since it sounds like, or at least based on that conversation with CSX Jacksonville, I'm going to guess they're letting L808 come back, and if that occurs, then we should see him reversing back, see the steel locomotive, and hear the goose horn coming back into town. So, if you guys want to stay, then we'll go ahead and catch this southbound NS and assume probably by then, and again, assuming is the wrong thing to do when trains are involved. And by the way, if y'all didn't meet my new friend Knox last night, make sure you watch last night's video. What a pleasant young man. I had fun with him last night. And for those of you who didn't see last night, Mike got to the, well, Mike was really late last night because of work, got there to Ottawa and didn't have most of the equipment, left it at the office. So we went online with what I thought was a charged piece of equipment that wasn't. Equipment we used from a couple of years ago, and then we ran out of power. Then we got back on, and we used a backup source, but it couldn't get the phone charged fast enough to compensate for the rate that the current was going out, because being live with you guys not only uses a ton of data, but it also uses a lot of battery power, a lot of battery life. So we went dead twice last night. Like I said, we were primitive, and Knox just did a fantastic job last night on the outro, which most of it we lost. But Knox, if you're listening, I hope we see each other soon. And it's kind of a cool tidbit. Knox's dad's family, or the back in time, are the ones that moved the Ottawa depot. So that was really, really cool. I hope we run into them soon. All right, let's go ahead and swing south for the moment. If you guys are going to stay, I'll stay with you. And hopefully we will catch the Squawking Goose, another southbound, which I'm going to guess was probably going to be 29F because he's way past due. And here comes the trash run. Here we go. It's a double push trash run tonight. And the pink is in the lead. Oh, the black is passing the pink. It is now black ahead of the pink. They're rolling. The distance is getting further. Look at them go. All right, everybody's on the black one. You're probably going to collect. Pink is in second place. I know, sometimes we just have to figure out a way to entertain ourselves. And it is not a photo finish because there is so much distance there, and the blue ribbon has been awarded. All right, you guys, we are hanging on for that amber over red, and the return of the steel Caboose on L808, the local here in Dalton that will be returning. Okay, Robert, highball green. Highball green, everybody. On the Atlanta North District, Norfolk Southern track. Uh-oh, we have a dumpster upset. Trash cans over. And off they go. As you can see, the camera does have challenges at night. Let's see if we can pick up your green over red for you. All right. As you can see, the trash can race is over. Quiet once again. We have a rail fan hanging out down there in the next parking lot, trackside with us and you guys. Yes, Jonathan, we will. And Jonathan, we will have NS first, and then we're hoping to catch the Goose coming back. Now we are having to watch power. That is an issue. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, where we are, and our time frame. We are at 2 hours and 38 minutes into this, and it is now 9:26 Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, the tracks that you see here currently, Jonathan, that is the siding for CSX. And yes, there are actually cars on that over on the siding. That track right here splits into two parts. So this is a CSX, this is actually a CSX yard, and just past the grass, that track splits into a double siding. Right now there are cars, I believe, on both of them. And that is what the second diamond is for, where we are, because, and I said it's a little dark out, I don't have the extra lights on, but right there, that CSX siding crosses over NS. Okay, that siding right there, siding line that we were talking about, crosses over the NS line and then crosses over to the W&A Sub, which is the main line over there. So they can move cars on and off of the siding there and put them on the main and then take them down or up to Rocky Face where they are. They have customers up there, and then they have a number of customers to the south of us. So yes, it is active, to answer your question. The switches at this point are controlled by CSX Jacksonville, and they are all automated or a diamond format. But yet there is no manual throwing here in the yard. Hobos under here? No. No hobos and no homeless. This used to be a road through here, as y'all can see. And then they built this beautiful umbrella for us. Compliments of the state and the city. And there's pretty good enforcement, I do believe, of no one staying under here. I think we have horns, so let's get ready just in case. Oh yes, we do have horn. Here he comes. You're about to see L808, and I'm going to guess because I hear the goose horn, as we call it, reversing, coming back at us. So we should be seeing L808 coming back with the steel caboose. And real quick, we haven't got activation on the lights, but I hear him coming. They're returning from Rocky Face, but back to our last train on that consists up front of the 4 locomotives. Okay, we got lights, we got gates. The number 3 engine, y'all need to take a look at that if you missed it. That is an old-time switcher, yard switcher, and if I'm not mistaken, it's a previous Amtrak switcher. But hey, here comes L808, the local, based here in Dalton for CSX. We got gates, we got lights, and boy, do we have something cool coming. If you guys don't enjoy this, I'm gonna have to figure out how to really excite you. This is not something you see every day. Well, what did you guys think? Cool? Super cool? Or wow? And John, good to see you. A former Chessie System bay window caboose. Yes, that is what you just saw. They go up. L808, which is the local, goes up to Rocky Face with the locomotive leading, and they reverse back down the W&A back to the south end of Dalton. And I don't know if you all saw him, but the conductor, that white light you saw in the back was the conductor. He gave you all a wave. He blows that horn back there as he rides on that rear platform. As you heard, they were calling. He was calling to the engineer, clear in each of the different crossings. And yes, horn's unique. To me, it sounds like you're squeezing a goose. But y'all just saw the old Chessie System caboose roll back into town right here in exciting downtown Dalton. Now, John, I don't know how long you were on, but our last southbound on the NS track just before L808 came back had 4 locomotives on the head end. The third one back, I believe, is that old switcher that we've seen before together, and it was used in the Amtrak yard. So if you have a moment to go back, if you would, and then tell us about that switcher. But I think that is the one, and I didn't write down the number. It caught me by surprise, and there was all kinds of cool stuff. And I don't know if you all saw it. I mean, there's been so much unique rail art tonight, but one of those rail cars had dead, icy body on it with a person covered in ice and what have you on that last southbound with the 4 locomotives. So, John, if you go back and look at that, let us know. Back to the hobo conversation. Bear in mind, the CSX yard here in Dalton is literally in the center of town. The main fire department about 2 blocks away, City Hall about 3 blocks away. Main drag, which is called the old Peacock Alley, where the ladies used to display the, not blankets, but the quilts that they made back in the late 1800s, sold them, etc. Then, a lady by the name of Mary in the late 1890s invented the process of tufting. And that became how they made carpet. And at one time, she put together a factory here of over 2,000 employees at the end of the 1800s going into 1900s. And that is why 90% of the world's carpet is made within 25 miles of where you and I are standing right now. Which, jumping back to the hobo conversation, etc. No problems here. No, don't see them. This rail yard, dead center of town, half the town's on that side, half the town's on that side. The main business section, we're right in the main business section. This backside you see, the top are condos, the lower are storefronts on the other side and restaurants. They're redoing the old passenger depot. John will tell you a couple of the names of the passenger lines that went through here. They were very romantic names to the past. Now, just to give you a heads up, we're going to stay for one more train. we're going to stay for one more train because, number one, I haven't had dinner yet, as we all discussed. AAA last night cooked a steak while we were, or 2 nights ago, I think, cooked a steak while we were hanging out. He had another great meal tonight. Now I'm getting hungry. But Robert's been studying those signals, so he's doing such a good job on that. He has us a highball green on the NS line going south. So since we're set up and we're still here, we're going to hang out for one more on the Atlanta North District before we conclude tonight. And surprisingly, being in the heart of downtown, listen how quiet it is here. And this used to be a main road through here. As we talked earlier, the city and the state gave us this great big canopy to film under. The old road bed's here, the curbing's here, etc. So this is a fantastic place. And sometimes when L808 comes back, he comes across the diamond here and goes over to the siding where all his cars are. But tonight, he went straight back down to his end. So, I think that catches me up with everybody's questions. Another hammer down, that's right, highball green, hammer down on the Norfolk Southern line. We have not seen 29F yet tonight. So, chances are, if you're a gambling person, this should be him because he's way past due, but don't know. That last train was super cool. That consists up front. Like I said, that third locomotive was epic. And if John goes back and looks that up, you guys are going to be surprised what he tells you. So, Walnut Street is probably from here about 10 blocks south of us or so, and maybe a little bit more. Walnut Street Bridge is bigger, and I would say from here, probably 14 blocks from us to the south. We're at the north end of Dalton. It's a little bit closer to the middle part. So Walnut Street there, I forget the name of the one that we're under, but we're under the one where the Crystals is and where the fire department is and City Hall is. If I think long enough, I'll come across with it. I think this is Thornton right behind us over here. If I get a moment, I'll take a look and I'll look it up. But right now, we may have enough power to hang on for one more. right. Sorry for that little jolt there. We've hooked up some incidental power, so we will be able to last through this last train. Last through the last train. That's a lot of last in the last sentence. All right. So, I'm going to check to see, get the name of this street for you, and then I'll be back on with you. And Crash, you are correct. We are under the street you named. WAUGH Street is what's overhead. There's East WAUGH Street and West WAUGH. Now, how do you pronounce it? We'll go with Wall. Six, I don't know. But yes, Robert, Crash, you two are right. That is the name of what we're under. The railroad track makes one side east, the other side west. Walnut Street is to the south of us. And at the other end of town, the track split. NS goes to the right, goes over to Rome. And CSX goes to the kind of straight a little bit to the left at the other end of town. It's South Dalton, where they split apart. Goes on down to, oh, what's the name of that town just below us? Very historic. Help me here, Robert, Tony. Hey, at least I got the name of the town right. Resaca. It goes on down to Resaca and eventually on down to Kennesaw and Atlanta on the W&A for CSX. All right, Robert has come back, and again, since it's so dark, thanks you guys for helping me with the name of the street and the pronunciation. In the meantime, John has looked back at our last southbound. All right, while we are waiting for our southbound Norfolk Southern track train, John has gone back and looked at the train, our last NS train with the 4 locomotives in the consist up front. And locomotive number 3 was 6421. And it is an SD 33 ECO. And John, if I'm not mistaken, didn't that locomotive used to do something with Amtrak? And yeah, as Robert noted about downtown Dalton, yes, they've done a beautiful job with Dalton. It's super nice. And down Peacock Alley, they have all these massive metal, beautifully painted peacocks in part of the history back to Peacock Alley and the quilts and everything. And if you've never rail fanned here, as Crash said earlier, it's just a beautiful setting down at the Dalton Visitor Center, about 4 or 5 blocks from us for rail fanning. Robert, I'm jumping back a little bit while I'm catching up. I can only imagine some of the stories that you heard. No wonder you have such an interest in trains after all the stories you heard from the hobos. And John, like I said, I believe you said it's an SD33 ECO, which was what 6421 is. A little hard to read the fine print on the monitor tonight. As we await to see what happens first, we run out of power or we get our southbound. How are you?
Good. Okay, what are y'all buying? What are you doing?
YouTube,
Huh?
YouTube, filming live,
Oh,
streaming live,
for
YouTube.
okay. Just get the trains or
Uh-huh.
okay.
Watch that cord. I got a cord right over there. And there goes 29F making its way southbound. And yes, a lot of power on the front of that train. Well, everybody, what a cool night. Bye, Brian. Have a good evening. Thanks for being on tonight. You have a good night, sir. And how cool was that? 29F. That train crew gave us a great big horn salute, and it has a lady conductor. So, and her voice was so clear and crisp on the monitor, I could understand her as if I was sitting here talking to you guys at the kitchen table. That was a nice surprise. A great train crew, and a fantastic way to end our evening. Robert, thank you, and I can see with the lawyer and everything and all the pressure and everything, just one day it's like, hey, what the heck? You know, life is short and I'm just gonna go enjoy it. So I imagine you met some really incredible people with some really incredible stories, and that you made a difference for them and they made a difference for you, and you're sharing it with us, and thank you. Brian, thanks for being on. John, thanks for looking up that information, catching us up. Everybody, Mama Bear, Papa Bear, everybody, Crash, all you guys and gals, Tara way up there to the north. Texas was on earlier. It's just been a fun evening. And yep, I'm glad we stayed. I'm glad all of you stayed. I'm glad I stayed. And it's past my bedtime. Tomorrow morning is another early morning. Now, Thursday mornings are my super early mornings. Friday morning is my earlier morning. So I'm going to go ahead and start packing. We are almost out of power on the recording device. Let me check it. I like that word, epic. Very good, kid. Outdoors. I like it. It has been epic. The bay window caboose was really cool. And then catching the old, what were the numbers there, John? 69. Oh, and hey, we had a -9 on that last train on 29F. A -9 up there on the front consist. 6421. 6421 was a cool catch. Nothing tops that old caboose tonight, the old steel caboose. If you see it in the daytime, it's got a lot of rust on it, but it's been a good time. Thank you, everybody. So, I'm going to go ahead and tear down. I'm going to leave this on. Like I said, we are basically out of power. But I'm gonna leave this on while I tear down for a little bit. That way, if anything happens to me, y'all can say, hey, go rescue Mike. He just fell down. So, all is good at the moment. I'm gonna pack. Y'all hang on. I don't know, what would you like to look at? Y'all wanna look at the lights? Or y'all just wanna look straight ahead at the track? It's gonna get real dark here in about 2 seconds. Let's see who answers first. Track or lights? Don't everybody answer at once. And we will be on if the weather cooperates. We will be on, and today is April 25th, 2025. It's a Thursday. If everything goes right, we will be on tomorrow afternoon, the 26th, maybe around 2 o'clock. I'm not sure what the timing is, or we had planned on doing some night filming tomorrow night. Lights it is. We had planned on doing some night filming tomorrow night down in Stevenson. So you guys I'll let y'all know on the bird cam once I know for sure. Okay, there is the old control tower where they used to throw the switches from. The old passenger depot. Single light on the right because the tree's blocking the other one is CSX. Red over red over red and S. John, if you want, tell them about something. Whoa! What do you guys hear? Uh-oh! All right, we're gonna try and stick this one out. Hopefully we got enough power. Everybody ready? everybody. John, you outdid yourself. You dispatched that train right to us. That was good work. Oh, everybody, I'm going to leave you on while I pack. We are for sure packing, and that was for sure our last train. So, it's going to take me about 10-15 minutes to pack what's out. I'm going to leave you on. As you all know, we don't say goodbye because we're all going to see each other at the next crossing. And that's how we always roll. We have had a great time tonight. We've had a pretty good long time tonight. We sure beat what we planned on being 8:30. It is now 10:30. We are 2 hours longer than planned. And I'll be honest with you, John, I didn't pay any attention to what was on those cars, whose they were. But we are at the 3 hour and 45 minute mark on tonight's video. So, that kind of sums it up for me. Again, I can't say thank you enough to all of you for being on and how much Casey and I appreciate it. And I hope you all have a good time when you're on. Always feel free to participate, ask questions, throw out information. Hey, did you see this? Hey, did you do that? Oh, we're up this way, we're that way. Is this coming? Is that coming? Whatever. Just always have fun with us. Because if we can't have fun, there's no reason to hang out here. And I have fun, and I want you guys to. So, I'm going to back. We'll go back. I'll let you all watch the lights. And then once I'm packed, I'll tell you guys I'll see y'all at the next crossing. I intend to see y'all tomorrow, being Friday. Don't know where yet. And like I said, Brian and I, from Brian Train Nut, we were talking about doing some night filming, maybe over in Stevenson tomorrow night. But weather is a definite issue, and Stevenson is no cover anywhere. So we're going back to the lights. I'm going to go to packing, and then we'll shut her down and put another milestone on the old tires. And if I leave it kind of out, it's a little easier for it to adjust because of the darkness that way. So, you're all looking south. There. That's as bright as good as I can get you. From Casey and I, to each and every one of you, thank you. Have a fantastic night. Have an incredible morning tomorrow, and we will see you all at the next crossing.